All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Starfighter podcast. It's Dom and co-host Ethan. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man.
Good. Excited to talk about this finale with you and our guests.
Yes.
There's definitely a lot to break down. Before we get started, guys, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Ring the bell, like the video. Definitely join the conversation in the live chat, or if you're watching on the replay, leave us a comment. We want to know how you enjoyed this episode. We want to know how you enjoyed the Book of Boba Fett as a whole, and if there's anything that we may have missed, any Easter eggs or some fun theories that you might have, let us know about those as well. But all right, man, let's bring in our guests. Also, I will say we're coming off of a really great um, trivia game night last Friday, and Ethan. I won't spoil who won. Ethan did a great job. Um, Also, one of our guests tonight is joining us. He did an incredible job as well. That is Anthony. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And for the penultimate episode last week, Ryan and I did a great review together. Great show. So we're bringing back Ryan too.
Hey man, good to be back.
Good to have you guys on. All right. I think we can pretty much get into it. We're going to be talking about the finale, episode 7. And yeah, full spoilers ahead. So why don't we go around with everyone's kind of initial thoughts? Let's start with you, Ryan.
So, finale, I had really high hopes for it. They had set up a lot of stuff for this last episode. I think it was a great episode. Probably one of the better ones of the entire series, the entire season. Setting it for future shows or other shows, I was a little bit underwhelmed by how they concluded some different plot lines and kind of left it in a completed story. But as a whole, the episode I think was great.
Nice. What were your initial thoughts watching the episode, Anthony?
From the beginning, I liked it. It's one of my more favorite episodes of the season. I just thought how everything happened. I thought it was just really good.
Nice. Ethan, what about you?
Yeah, I loved Mando season 2, episode 3. It was really good. I liked it. I think it's exactly what I expected from a finale, like at this level. Especially because for what seems like a little like mini series is what they're doing right now with it. I thought it turned out really well and gave us some much needed Star Wars content. So
I really enjoyed it too. I was definitely excited to hear your guys' thoughts. I still am, but it seems like the four of us are, pretty positive for the most part about it. I've watched a couple of other people's reviews, and there's certain things that are getting quite a bit of heat, honestly, and so we can address those too. But I was kind of telling Anthony.
I'll address them.
Yeah, I know you will. I know you will. I was telling Anthony before we started the show how I feel like, well, just over it's really started with Last Jedi, but I actually even started with the prequel series, but the fans have just become a lot more critical with Star Wars, and then sometimes I feel like they're way more critical of Star Wars than they are of Marvel. And Marvel has become like the number one IP for a while now, even over Star Wars. So I don't know. It's a little bit irritating to me, but I definitely understand like people being upset with certain things about the series, and we'll get into all that stuff. But let's kind of.
I just want to
Go ahead.
mention one thing real quick. I'm okay. Look, it was like that, but the only reason like I'm okay with the sequels that came out is because they made everyone go back and appreciate the prequels for what they were after like somewhat disappointment across the board with the sequels and like certain aspects. I think it's funny how every time something new comes out, it completely changes your view on like everything else that's Star Wars. Like whether you're like, okay, now I enjoy the original trilogy now more because like Mando and all that came out, or now I can deal with the prequels because the sequels weren't that crazy. Like that's where I'm at right now. But yeah, no, let's get into it because again, this is just kind of like this whole series. Like no matter how small it is, I was still mad that it was 7 episodes. But like for being how small it was, it did a lot. Like it was some really good content, and I think they balanced it out like super well with what they're trying to do. So
Yeah, definitely, and we'll point out some of the negative things too, or things that we didn't care for as well. But yeah, let's get into the breakdown, kind of with the intro, and kind of like starts to pan in over Tatooine. I thought the visuals in these last couple episodes have just gotten a lot better too. I know that's been a complaint that people feel like the budget for Mandalorian has been much bigger than Boba Fett, and then it kind of seemed like they were probably saving that budget to do the deep fake with Luke in last episode, so that kind of made sense. But no, I thought that's been starting to look much better. But anyways, they're preparing for war basically. I'll tell you what I didn't like right off the bat is that one chick telling Boba Fett, "No, I'm not gonna go with your plan. Like we're not gonna leave." And basically, your plan stinks. Like you guys should just stay. And he's just like, "Yeah, okay." That didn't make any sense to me. And yeah, I mean, I have been a little bit annoyed with certain things with Boba Fett in this series. But what do you guys kind of think about the intro and them getting ready to prepare for battle, essentially? What do you think, Anthony?
I thought that was like kind of like from what you said about Boba just like scrapping his plan just off of just one person's view, because I kind of noticed that even from like the beginning between him and Fennec, just like he wanted to do one thing, Fennec kind of sowed her idea in him, and then he somewhat went along with it or whatever. I kind of noticed that, and that is one thing that annoyed me. But I think it was good.
Yeah, I mean, going along with that, this show was set up to be, especially in the trailers, it was set up to be a gangster story, and Fennec really is the gangster out of all of them. Like she knows what she's doing, and she knows kind of like the persona that someone's supposed to have, and she's kind of trying to steer Boba Fett in that direction. She's definitely his voice of reason, definitely in this episode, but throughout the series. But he wants to do things totally different, and it's whatever, I guess. But Ryan, any thoughts?
Well, I was glad to see the Spy Kids came back this episode. Quite a lot this time. Yeah, in line with that, we're used to thinking of Boba Fett as like this super strong, super powerful guy who's doing his own thing, and like you said, like we've kind of seen like he just kind of goes along with what everyone else says, and we should change the plan. Oh, okay, sounds good. We'll do that then. It's like that's not what we're used to when we think of Boba Fett. So
it's like, what are these kids
about the character? But I know, yeah,
soft.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, what do these kids even know? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when he hired them too, it's not like he knew their background as being like good fighters. Like, how did he know that they'd even be useful on his team?
Yeah.
So definitely could have done without the Mos Espa Vespa gang, as some people have referred to them. Ethan, what do you think about the intro to the episode?
I don't know. Like it frustrates me because yeah, like when I think of Boba, I think of Clone Wars Boba, where he was kind of like a thug, even though he was like 12, and it's like a complete 180 just because he met some Tusken Raiders, and I'm like, I get it, but it's too different, you know, like from what I actually believe, like why I think the character is. And it's also frustrating because it's like I wanted Boba to kind of be like a villain, like a actual like threat, like going forward, and now he's kind of just like a pushover, and I'm like, now he's gonna push over to like I want him to be the bad guy, like I want him to be the bad guy, and he didn't even do anything that dope. Like Fennec got the most gangster scene in the entire thing. I was like, he didn't do anything that crazy, and yeah, it frustrates me because I just don't think what they've portrayed Boba as, it's not what my vision of Boba has ever been, or I don't think ever really will be.
Yeah, kind of going along with that, I guess I'm feeling like a lot of these episodes were, and mainly the last couple episodes, a lot of them have been really good for Star Wars content, but not necessarily good for the story of Boba Fett. It's kind of my mindset. But you know what? We'll talk about Cad Bane showing up again and kind of he's acting like he's going to, well, he's saying that he's going to draw him out. Also, there was that conversation with Bane and the Pikes, and they admitted to being the ones that killed the Tuskens, which I think all of us kind of assumed that. And then, yeah, Bane goes to talk to Boba Fett. But what do you think about this scene, Ryan?
I liked it. I think it was a nice twist for the ending, just because they set it up to be from the speed bikers, but so did not see that coming from left field. So that was nice to have a little bit of a twist and a little change in the storyline.
Yeah, for sure. And we can basically just get into the I think probably the best part about this episode, which is the battle when everything starts to kind of break out. But Ethan, what do you think about the team up with Mando and Boba Fett?
It was cool. Like I was waiting for Boba to actually fly and shoot for once in his life. And so yeah, I thought that was cool. And they, for once, he didn't seem like he was gonna get like tore up at every second. Like I feel like throughout the show, he's kind of needed like a posse or Fennec like right next to him in order to do anything. And he actually kind of popped off for a couple minutes, so that was cool. But yeah, I thought like it looked really good. Like it looked really good. Like for two Mandalorian, like, you know, fighting, like it looked really good. It reminded me of what they did in the Clone Wars, which, you know, I'll love that always. So
yeah, Anthony, what do you think about the beginning of the battle?
I really liked it a lot. I was throughout the whole series, I was kind of waiting for the moment where they team back up again and then fight, because they set it up in with season 2 of Mandalorian, have the two mans working together, and I really wanted to see that again. So I was really glad that happened.
Yeah, are you guys kind of thinking that we'll probably see Boba Fett cross over again in season 3 of Mando, and then they'll team up again? What's your guys' thoughts?
he crossed over the past 3 episodes. What do you mean? Yeah, like it's gonna happen, but it's like, again, it's not the Boba. Like I wanted Boba by like season 4 to be like throwing down with Mando. Okay, that's what I wanted.
Well,
besides,
I mean, he
like, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say,
sorry.
like,
Go ahead.
regarding the beginning of that fight, I don't know if it's a pet peeve of your guys's, but it's a big pet peeve of mine with this whole Beskar armor. Do you know how many gaps there are in that stuff? And out of like 30 people shooting at them and like 6 snipers, none of them hit anywhere. Like they don't hit anywhere else. Boba's got a huge gap right here that like Bane showed. He's got his legs are like barely covered. and they never hit him. Like they never hit him or Mando in like a critical spot once. That's my only pet peeve with this stuff. But other than that, yeah, the fight was actually cool. Like I thought it went on for like a little bit, but it made sense, like the whole fighting thing, because the whole thing about them building up this Beskar like armor that they got is they make it seem like it's like a cheat code for like literally everything, and it's kind of cool to see them in those situations where they're literally getting beat up like the entire time, and like even though they're getting shot, it's not like they can do anything. Like if they're getting shot enough, they're just going to be on the ground. And I was kind of waiting for them to show that, like they're literally not invincible just because they have this armor. Like a lot of Mandalorians died back in the day, even though they had this armor. Like it doesn't fix everything. Yeah. So I was kind of glad that they showed that, even though it's just like a bunch of pikes shooting at them. So
I mean,
it tones it down.
You know who else had a cheat code was Chrysanthemum. I mean, how many times did he get shot and he was not going down? Ryan, what do you think about him showing back up again? Well, we knew he was part of the team, but seeing him in action again.
Yeah, the whole scene where we're realizing that they all were set up in a trap. I like that scene just because you see the flip of how Boba thinks that he has the upper hand. He has all of his guards standing around and watching for the pikes, but then we see that all the different crime families have turned against them, and they're ganging up on them. So I like that for the storyline purposes. One thing that I think they purposely put this line in here when Cad Bane mentioned to Boba that you're going soft in your old age. I think that they're maybe playing off of that for the entire season, being like, yeah, Boba used to be this way when he's younger, but now he's older and has a different way of doing things. He's not as tough. He's going to be more easygoing versus going into battle. But I think the scene between Mando and Boba together, that was nice to see. I was waiting for that. I thought that was going to be more in the new Mandalorian season 3. But it was nice to be able to see that here. I do think they'll bring Boba into the new season, unless they have a new Boba season 2, which I hope they kind of don't, unless I'm not sure they'll do that storyline, but it would make more sense to have him make an appearance in the Mandalorian season 3.
7 more Bacta episodes. I would love that, dude.
Yeah, Anthony,
simulator.
What have you been thinking? What's your thoughts on kind of Boba Fett's progression? Because clearly he's not the same as like we remember him.
Yeah.
From the shows or even from Empire, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I think also from him when he took over Mos Espa, I think he was also trying to he was changed from being with the Tuskens, but then also he didn't want to reflect how Jabba and Bib Fortuna had ruled. Like he said, they ruled with fear, and he wanted to rule with their respect. Kind of like with how him living with the Tuskens, he earned their respect, so he wanted to do the same with the people. So I think that kind of showed like kind of what Cad Bane said: in your old age, you become soft. He changed as you got older.
My whole thing with it is that all these things that Boba brought up about how he's going to be different, you can be different and still sell spice and be a thug and rule with respect. Okay, the thing with Boba is that ever since he was like 12 or whatever, he was doing dumb stuff and kind of like going off doing his bounty hunter thing, getting with all these bounty hunters. But like he was conflicted, right? Like that's the thing that I liked about Boba is he was never truly evil or like good. But like you get to like a breaking point and you'd be like, oh yeah, this is wrong. Like I shouldn't shoot this clone trooper who didn't do it. It was just like random stuff like that. And I'm okay with that. I don't need Boba to be completely bad either. But I don't need him to be completely good. And that's my main thing with it is like he went completely good. like out of the blue for a couple of Tusken Raiders, like for a bantha, like that's my thing with it. But besides that, I understand what they're trying to do, but it doesn't make sense to me. But I'll just have to stomach it, I guess. So.
Yeah, I've brought it up a little bit. I'll bring it up again. But I think I really do believe a big reason for this change and kind of like, I guess maybe like this identity crisis that we see Boba in is mainly because Jon Favreau's original show that he wanted to do was a Boba Fett show, and they're like, no, we're going to do something more original. So then he makes up the Mandalorian, and who definitely has like a dark side to him and can be kind of gritty, but at the same time he cares for Grogu. And the Mandalorian became what we envisioned Boba Fett is normally like.
Yeah, he was
and now,
grittier.
Yeah, but then they're like, okay, you can bring Boba Fett back in, and you can even do a show with Boba Fett now, but you can't have them be the same. You know what I mean? Like, he can't be that same person. And then, yeah, it was kind of weird to have him. I did kind of like the angle with the Tusken Raiders stuff. I think there's a lot of good scenes, but I do think it is a little bit weird that the Tusken Raiders made Boba Fett a more noble person, almost leaning towards the side of being a hero. What do you think, Ryan? Any more thoughts on this?
Yeah, with that being said, maybe this entire season was just kind of a chance because he's already kind of made the story with Mando. They had to kind of make up some sort of story with Boba. And I like the storyline, especially the timing, the gap in timing, what happened after Return of the Jedi. So I like seeing what happened, but I don't think that much of a character change is pretty significant in only a short period of time. So he was working for the Empire for years, and now he's a good guy. And Mando's basically like, fills his position.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Let's go back to some more scenes in the battle. I thought these guys were pretty cool. They're essentially like
Droideka on steroids.
Yeah, exactly. I thought this was really cool. It's probably one of my favorite parts about the episode too, and we've been getting these callbacks to the prequels, which is really nice to see. How do you guys like these though? Anthony, what do you think about these droids?
I thought they were very cool because after they started retreating, the Pikes, I knew something was coming and I just didn't know what. But I just thought that it was really interesting that how they had him. They were like the droidekas, like you said, but they were bigger and they were more like sturdy. They couldn't be as defeated as well. And I think that was really cool. That was like a last effort for the Pikes, like their pocket card.
Yeah, definitely. Did you like this callback to the prequels, Ethan?
Yeah, I think the cool thing with them kind of doing callbacks like this with like, new, I don't know, weapons and stuff like that is it makes sense. Like people aren't going to make completely new weapons most of the time. They're just going to make newer, better versions of stuff that's already been made. And so for them to basically make a droideka tank, that was pretty cool. My only thing with this is why was it Chris Anthon that got the first idea to like touch the shield and get anywhere like close to try getting inside the shield? I thought that was funny. I was like, they hit it with a lightsaber, they shot it, but they never went and grabbed it or like even tried to walk through it. It took a Wookiee with like, brass knuckles or whatever, and I was just like, okay. But no, I thought it turned out really good, and it gave. Well, I'm sure we'll talk about the Rancor in a sec, but we kind of all knew it was going to come like at some point in this series.
Yeah, you can go into that if you want.
Yeah,
go for it.
So it made sense. Like for them to either just have these droids or something like that. Like if they just had the droids, they could still beat it or whatever. Like they have a dark saber, they have a bunch of people. Like they could probably figure something out. But if they just had if they didn't have these droids and Boba had a Rancor, this fight would have been over a lot quicker. And so I thought it like actually balanced it out a bit, and it made more sense. But it also gave Cad Bane a cool moment. So bonus points.
I know some people have been complaining too that like why didn't Boba Fett ever get in his ship and kind of like he did in that one episode and bring his ship around and start taking people out with that. And yeah, I don't really know why either.
Why did he drop the bomb on the city? Just well, that was the thing is I was like,
one
I
more
thought about
seismic
that.
charge.
Yeah, I thought about it. I was like, that makes sense. But then I was like, oh, maybe he doesn't want to like tear up the city. But then he drops a Rancor on the city, and I'm like, well, it doesn't really change anything. I was like, the difference between letting a Rancor just go through the city and shooting the city with a ship seems kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't seem too different. But
yeah,
if the Rancor didn't exist, I'm sure he would have pulled out that ship.
Ryan, you want to talk about the super destroyers and versus the Rancor?
I thought that was a great scene. Some people mentioned like that's like today's King Kong versus Godzilla. It's basically like a battle of the monsters. So that was cool to.
That was definitely
cool to
Godzilla vibes, yeah. Or King Kong.
Those Pacific Rim vibes.
Yeah, there you go. And I looked into it. So these droids, they're discarded designs from the Attack of the Clones movie. Like it was art that they thought about, and so they pulled from those previous designs for this. So it's kind of cool to be able to see that. Basically, they're like destroyer droids, like super advanced ones. So having the Rancor versus them, I thought it was cool. I love the scene where the Rancor like takes his leg off and like stabs the droid with his own leg. So it was a pretty cool battle.
Godzilla moment.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
Wave says Ethan loves those Pacific Rim vibes.
I do.
Also, shout out to our friend Jake Hedge. He's in class right now, but he says, "Have fun, guys."
Like, I think it's funny how those droids, if you think of like a bunch of the droid designs, it's like all of them meshed together. Like, it reminds me of like those there's like those huge like kind of tank things that on Geonosis where they had like the huge wheels on the side. It kind of reminded me of like that, and then like the little popper droids that were like in episode 3, like the eye and everything. It was
the buzz
like
droids,
a bunch of different, the buzz droids. It reminded me of like a bunch of different parts of random droids, and then, like the droikas and all that, like meshed together, and then painted silver. And I was like, that's pretty cool. But
you know what we haven't talked about yet is Grogu coming back. And
I don't need to talk about that.
And we understand the decision he made too. Anthony, what do you think about him showing up? And what do you think about R2? Basically being his taxi driver.
Luke. I knew that Grogu was gonna come back after the end of episode 6. I knew he was gonna choose Mando. I knew that was gonna happen, and then how I thought it was gonna play out, I thought Luke was gonna come back too as well, and then Luke and Mando were gonna have like some like father versus teacher like not like battle, but go on between them, and then that's what I thought was gonna happen, but I think it was still good how Grogu he came back to Mando, and how like his love for him was yeah.
I know. I mean that scene when they finally meet up again and he jumps into his arms for a hug. Come on, guys. That's just the Disney
feels.
magic, the Disney magic right there.
Force jump at its finest.
Ryan, your thoughts on Grogu coming back and anything else you want to touch on?
When the when they showed the X-wing coming in onto the planet, I assumed it was going to be Grogu, but I was expecting Luke just because it's Luke's X-wing. He's supposed to be there. So it was a nice little twist. It's like, oh, R2 basically, drove him there. But yeah, their reunion, Mando and Grogu, that was really nice. Just because they haven't seen each other since season 2 of Mandalorian. And we see his choice, what choice he made. That's gonna set up for something in the next series. Like, what does that choice? What's the consequences of that choice going to be? Because he's choosing a specific path. Where does that lead to him with Luke and his training for being a Jedi? And he doesn't have the lightsaber, and so maybe that's what we're going to see in the next season.
Yeah, I think another dead giveaway was the Naboo starfighter and how she, replaced that spot for the droid. It's like we knew that Grogu was going to be in that. You know what I mean? Like, we just knew that that's where he was going to be. Ethan?
Yeah, I was expecting it. I thought they did really good, like the reunion and all that. Like, it made sense and everything going on. Am I a little disappointed that he didn't? I'm not disappointed with the lightsaber because I knew lightsaber was never an option in my mind. Like, I never thought about the lightsaber. One day, maybe, but
yeah,
not right now.
I think he's still gonna get it.
I think he will, or he might just yoink the dark saber. Who knows?
But
that'd be funny
because they've mentioned it in Clone Wars, and then they mentioned it in the episode when we first see the Return of Mandalorian episode. The armor talks about Tar Vizsla being both Mandalorian and Jedi, and I feel like there is more of a point to that. I feel like that is setting up and foreshadowing Grogu later down the road becoming both a Jedi and a Mandalorian, and I honestly think that that's what the majority of the fans want to, especially myself.
My only thing with that is that's inevitable, but it's do you need a lightsaber to be a Jedi? Is the real you should have a lightsaber if you're a Jedi, but do you need it? And so my thing is, it would make most sense for that to happen, because then it would explain why by the time you get to the sequels and stuff, unless Grogu's dead, which is very unlikely considering their lifespan or whatever, and his plot armor, the odds of Luke keeping in touch with Grogu while he's also a Mandalorian doesn't make sense. I think you would have just basically disowned him at that point and been okay, well, you're doing your thing now. So yeah, I think that's where it's headed, but hopefully he goes back and just yoinks the lightsaber at some point or something.
Yeah, I would have preferred to have seen him try and take both, and then maybe Luke was okay, whatever, because it still is a little bit weird to me, because we know even in Last Jedi, and then even in old Legends, Luke has never fully agreed with all the teachings. He kind of wanted to make adjustments to them. He wanted to be able to have attachments, mainly in Legends, but even when me and Ryan were doing our review last week, Ryan brought out the point that Luke's always been motivated by his attachments with his relationships with Leia, Han, and Chewie. So it's I was a little surprised to see how strict he was with Grogu, not allowing him to I don't know, I guess try and balance out both Mando and Jedi life. But did you guys have any other thoughts on that?
I just wish we saw a scene where we saw Luke's reaction or something to go off of.
Yeah,
that was my only thing that I was expecting. But
yeah, it was nice that they surprised us with the X-wing showing up, but it would have been nice to see Grogu making a choice and seeing what Luke's reaction to that is like. Is he happy about that? Because that's what that's what Luke chose was his friends, or is he disappointed? And I don't know. Maybe we'll see Luke in season 3 as well.
I just wish that when that X-wing thing opened up, instead of showing Grogu pop out, the lightsaber just turned on.
That would have been awesome.
This green lightsaber popping out of it.
That would have been awesome. Yeah.
I love how she said when like she found out like his name's Grogu, she's like, that's a terrible name.
Oh yeah.
I was hoping she would
That
say
was
like
funny.
you should be Baby Yoda. Like, yes, just say Baby Yoda in the show, please.
Imagine.
But yeah, I mean, Anthony, well, what do you think? Because they're really starting to perfect the deepfake stuff, especially with the YouTuber guy coming on board for Disney. I think his name's Shamook, something weird like that. But yeah, I don't feel like this is the last that we've seen of Luke, especially because I believe, and tell me your thoughts, but I believe that later down the road, Luke and Ahsoka are going to team up, maybe even Mando as well, against Thrawn and possibly some other like Inquisitors maybe, or some other kind of like Sith type of person. What are your thoughts?
I think that definitely Luke will show up again in season 3. Kind of what I want to happen is I want Grogu to kind of like go back for Yoda's lightsaber and realize that's kind of what I'm hoping is he goes back during the school, and that's where we see Luke actually teaching. Maybe Ahsoka's there, but Grogu tries to go back and tries to take both like Yoda's lightsaber and his and choose Mando and Jedi at the same time.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Just wait for the day Mando's in like a really terrible situation and and Grogu's off on his own, and somehow he takes his ship back, and then he's like, all right, now I gotta do something. And then he goes back, yoinks the lightsaber, comes back to save him. For some reason, I could see that happening like 100%. All they need is a droid friend. That's all they need. They need a whole story just to get a friend that's a droid, and then they can do whatever they want.
Well, I kind of wish that IG-11 was still around.
Sam, I forgot about him. Not gonna lie.
I mean, he was so awesome.
Yeah, he was.
Wait,
I think if they're gonna,
11, right?
I think if they're going to have Grogu go back to Luke's the temple where he's training, I think if they want to make it really fun, is show the temple at some point being destroyed by the Knights of Ren, so they bring it back into the storyline of the final trilogy. That'd be fun if they want to keep it into the story, into the timeline of things.
We'd have to have it would be cool. We'd have to have a big time jump, though. You know what I mean?
Grogu can be old.
When he can actually hold the lightsaber, maybe he'll go back to get it. When he knows he can actually hold it in one hand, then he'll go back and be like, okay, I have a shot now.
Well, let's talk about Grogu taking on the Rancor after Mando kind of gets wrecked a little bit. I thought this was an awesome scene. It's also another force power that we don't really see too much, and I can't remember exactly the name, but just being able to control creatures is another force ability. And yeah, I also, even though Grogu has decided to stick with Mando, I don't see him losing his force powers anytime soon. In fact, it seems like he's still like learning and becoming more and more powerful. But Anthony, your thoughts on Grogu taking on the Rancor?
I thought it was kind of like a nice callback to Mandalorian season 1, where he saved Mando for the first time. Can't remember what animal that was, but where
the Mudhorn.
The Mudhorn. Yeah. And calling it back to that, like saving Mando and just and it shows his progression with training with Luke, because at first he would just pass out afterwards, like it took too much out of him. But with the Rancor being such a larger size, he was able to control it and still not have any side effects from it. So I thought that was a nice little development of Grogu to be seen.
Yeah, Ryan or Ethan, do you have any thoughts on this scene?
This is.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
no, you go, Ryan. You go.
Okay. This is honestly probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire season. Just because we compare the Mandalorian when he's protecting and taking care of Grogu, and we flip that now where Grogu is protecting Mando from the Rancor. So I thought that was really a impactful scene, in that we see that he's progressing with his skills. Like you said, like he doesn't fall asleep afterwards. And we're seeing how now they're flipping sides. Hopefully we'll see this more as well, that Grogu protects Mando from danger. So I really like this scene a lot.
I mean, he did take a nap next to the Rancor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looked like he curled up real nice next to that Rancor. He was able to walk a few steps before he took a nap.
There you go.
Yeah.
It seemed more of a choice than him being like completely drained.
Yeah. He's just
It was
like,
a
I wonder what
snuggles.
this is like.
Yeah, but shout out to our viewers real quick. Thanks for joining us, tuning in. Let us know your thoughts on the season finale. Let us know your thoughts on the Book of Boba Fett as a whole, good or bad. Definitely want to hear about it. Ethan, should we get into the face off with Bane and Boba?
Yes.
I mean, I really have mixed feelings about this, because as you know, Cad Bane is one of my favorite characters. It's like I'm not completely mad at it. It's just like it doesn't feel earned for him to take him out that quickly, in my opinion. And honestly, in the fight, I was rooting for Bane the entire time. Ethan, talk to us about it.
I think everyone else should go first. I'll be here for a bit.
Okay.
What
Okay.
a good round.
And
I'll go
Anthony.
first.
Ryan,
No,
Ryan,
I'll go first, because I'm gonna already tell you. I know that there's a lot of backstory between the two of them, and I haven't seen Clone Wars, and so for me, this scene was like, oh, that's cool. He beat him. The only thing I'll say is that I really appreciated that Boba used the gaffy stick to kill Bane. So that was a nice throwback to earlier in the season when he made the gaffy stick for like an episode, one of the 7 episodes, the gaffy episode.
right.
So other than that, I don't really have a lot of input about the backstory about these guys, about the two of them. So you guys go ahead.
But hold on, Ryan, that's important. Ryan's perspective on this is incredibly important, because that's what they're planning on. Like, I think that's exactly what they're planning on. I don't think they're planning on anyone to know who Bane is, like, to know any background on it, you know? Like, not everyone's going to go watch Clone Wars, like, in all honesty.
I mean, they don't assume that everyone has, but...
Well, they don't assume, but that's the thing is, I feel like that's the mindset they went in with it. And then they're like, let's make a strong presence, because Bane, he didn't have to do anything crazy. He just has to be there. Like, that's the thing with Bane, is he's there and he makes a strong presence. Like, that was his whole character, is like, just looking at him, you're like, oh, okay, this dude means business. Like, that's his whole thing. And then they're like, oh, okay, well, I can't.
Anthony, did you want to share some thoughts?
Yeah. I thought that Bane wasn't gonna get taken out. I thought he was just gonna beat Boba and like leave him with something, and then they were face off later. As like when he said my final lesson, I didn't think that he was gonna try and take out Boba, but just like leave him with something for him to like to go back on it to think about. So then later on in the next season of the show for him to go back and face Bane again. That's kind of what I thought and what I was hoping for.
Yeah. It's tough
See,
because yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
See, I thought they were going to have to. The point of a show, if you want to continue a show, is to have a cliffhanger, something to make you want to come back to it. And so they bring up this villain, the one episode before the finale, and then they kill him off. It's like, that's your time to set this person up as a character who's going to be the villain that you're going to have to conquer in another season, and now I'm forced to watch that season. So by killing him off, like if, let's say for example, that people don't know who he is, like I really don't. Okay, they started this new character, and then they kill him off. Story's over. Okay, that was fun. Like there's no reason for me to care about this villain because they kill him off within an episode, basically.
You're saying any more, right? Because you were interested in him in last week's episode, right?
Yeah, I like him as a villain. I think he would have been he could have been more of a good villain, and they could have set up more reasons to have this conflict, but they finished it too quickly, I think. For what they had the opportunity to set it up as more. And if you don't know the back history, like I don't know the back history, you don't know that there is more to it. And so for the average viewer,
there's a lot more to it.
I know. Well, I don't know, but I do know that there's a lot I don't know. So for a lot of viewers, if this is just some day of the week monster that, oh, they beat him, cool. It's not satisfying to have that killed off.
Yeah, I think that my issues with this too is that not just because he's one of my favorite characters, but because of this identity crisis that we've talked about with Boba, it's just a little bit weird whenever he decides to flip that switch and kind of go back to more of the Boba Fett that we remember. Even in like his appearance in Mandalorian, when he's wrecking all those stormtroopers, like I feel like we should have just stuck with that. You know what I mean? Like for this entire series. That's kind of, and then I feel like this fight would have made more sense and I would have been more okay with Cad Bane going out. But really, I would have preferred that if Cad Bane died, kind of like what Ryan was saying, is that they pushed it, even though I don't really think that we need a season 2 right now with where we're at with the story. If they had done things a little bit differently, I think Cad Bane should have lived to see a second season.
See, I don't even think they need a second season of Boba. I think that because they're interchanging Mandalorian and Book of Boba as basically the same show, just with a different title. This is basically Mandalorian season 2.5
right,
for season 3. So they could have had him come back in season 3. They could have made a great cliffhanger in this episode to be resolved in Mandalorian season 3, which they're going to do with Baby Yoda Grogu as well. So what's the difference of having a cliffhanger with Cad Bane in that season, in that show? I don't know. It wasn't. It was not a payoff.
Right. Jake says, "Sup, guys." Sup, Jake? Ethan, did you even get into it?
I don't. Okay, look.
I feel like Ethan's gonna die right now.
I want to hear what you say.
I can get into it.
And you and both of us have a pretty good knowledge of the Clone Wars, and I think you even have a little bit better memory with some of the stuff with the two of them.
Bane died for what? He died for what? This dude, Ryan was talking about cliffhangers, right? He's a living cliffhanger. He was a living cliffhanger. Do you know how many Clone Wars episodes I watched as a kid? And every time I thought, oh, Obi-Wan's gonna get him this time. Oh, Mace, he's got him. This dude got away every single time. Like, he never even chanced death. Like, he never chanced it. Because it's a bounty. It's a bounty. At the end of the day, it's a bounty. Why would he die for a bounty? It doesn't make sense. He would just leave. He has boots where he can fly. Why would he just leave? Like, it doesn't make sense. That was the whole point of Cad Bane, is he was just skilled enough to where he could get into a fight, do some damage, and hey, if things go south, he can get away. Like, he's got some other card away from the game that he can pull in and be like, all right, it's over. Like, he'd be doing stuff for Palpatine and be like, you know what? I got this Force-sensitive kid. I don't care what happens to him. I want to dip. Like, he always had like an end game so that he didn't die. And in this, he got stabbed by a stick. Okay, a stick. I don't care what background this stick has. The second I saw them get into that fight, and the stick didn't come out, why did Boba come back with a Rancor and a stick? He didn't need the stick, okay? He didn't need it. He had a Rancor, okay? He went the entire time without using the stick, okay? They get to the end of the fight, hasn't used it once. I knew that thing was coming out. I knew it was over for him. The second Cad Bane pointed that blaster at his head, I was like, it's over. I literally rolled over in anger because I'm like, that stick hasn't come out yet. I've watched this whole episode and that stick hasn't come out yet. I was just so furious. I'm like, of all the people that could have killed Cad Bane in the past, for him to get killed like this fast was so lame. And you're right. Boba has been doing nothing. He's not a thug. Like, he isn't a threat anymore. Like, he really isn't a threat to anyone. Like, he's a threat to bad people. I don't care. Like, that's everyone's a threat to bad people. Like, that's how it goes. Cad Bane would have been perfect because he can come in, come back out. He can come in, leave. Every single, like, he can do whatever he wants in this universe, and it would make sense.
Yeah, if he doesn't win, then he gets away.
Yeah, he always got away, and you would never wonder where is he at. That's the exact reason why everyone knew he was still alive. Everyone knew he was still alive because that was his character. He wouldn't die like that. He just wouldn't. And since when did he care about the pikes, dude? For a bounty, he has no skin in the game besides money. Like, why didn't he just leave the fight? In all honesty, the second he saw Boba at first, threatened him, and walked away, he should have never came back.
It's kind of funny.
That is straight up Cad Bane. He would have just walked away and gone right off Tatooine and never came back. That is Cad Bane. Because he would have been like, oh, it's over. That dude has a Darksaber. He probably has a Rancor. Yeah, it's over. Like, he wouldn't even chance it. He's too smart for it. And the worst part, I know some people were hating on Cad Bane. I liked him so much, dude. Like, he looked sick. Like, for being a real life adaptation, I thought they did a better job than they did Ahsoka. Like, in all honesty, I think it looked perfect. Like, literally perfect. And his voice was good. Like, everything aged perfect. Like, literally perfect for the timeline and everything. It fit perfectly. He'd pull out his blaster the same way. I was like, dude, they have it. I was like, they have everything that they've wanted with this character, and they got him set up. And then they killed him, and like 30 minutes of showtime. Not even. How much showtime did this dude get? Maybe like 10 minutes in all. Let's be honest, 10-15 minutes.
It's a missed opportunity.
He lived for 15 minutes on live action. We're gonna see that lady that like built Mando's ship. She's gotten more screen time than Cad Bane. Yeah, whoever. Dude, honestly, you know that the Twi'lek that was like trying to negotiate. Remember that guy in this episode? That guy got just as much, if not more, screen time than Cad Bane. Yeah, that guy. Yeah. He got just as much, if not more, this season than Cad Bane will ever have in live action. That's what that's what frustrates me, is that there's all these characters that you could kill any day of the week, and they kill Cad Bane in that episode.
See,
And
they didn't even need to bring him back into the show.
No, they
You
didn't.
didn't need to bring him in the show just to
You
kill
didn't.
him. He wasn't really part of the storyline. I mean, kind of, but like he wasn't part of the storyline other than basically to tell us that the Pike killed the Raiders. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. That was your entire purpose, was just to say that line, basically.
With a cool
And then
voice. They
With a
paid
cool
him for
voice,
the
yeah.
voice. Yeah, they paid him for the voice.
I mean, not only did I want him to show up either in Mandalorian or in this, but I knew that he would most likely at some point, because, well, Boba Fett's supposed to be a crime boss, but Mandalorian is a bounty hunter, and Cad Bane is like one of the most notorious bounty hunters in the galaxy. So
Not anymore.
I've heard some people say that they think that he might still be alive, but it didn't look like it. It didn't look like it.
No.
But yeah,
It looked like when Vance got shot. It's like, oh, cool, he got shot in the arm. Maybe he's fine. But this was different.
it's really a missed opportunity, because there could have been like so many great episodes, and they could have just done so much more with him later down the line, with him going up against Boba some more and going up against Din Djarin. I honestly thought it would be really great to see.
He could have fought Luke.
Yeah, probably.
Dude,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people
I
don't
would've
know that, but in
paid so much
Clone
money for
Wars, Cad Bane took on Mace Windu and Obi-Wan, and
I'm pretty sure he's killed Jedi. Like, legitimately
has.
killed Jedi in the show. Like,
he has, and he honestly gave Mason and Obi-Wan a tough time too.
fighting both of them at the same time. He was always fighting like a minimum 2 Jedi. And it was never like these random Jedi that he was fighting. It was like minimum there was Mace Windu, Obi-Wan, or Anakin. Like, it was all the time he was fighting. Like, one of them was in the fight. And that's the thing that frustrates me so much, is these guys have lightsabers and he dies to a stick. That's what frustrates me. And I don't know if I saw it in the pictures, but did he have jet boots? Because I was waiting for that. Because he always had jet boots back in the day. But he might not have
It
them
didn't
anymore.
look like he had the jets on there.
Yeah. But
Maybe they'll come out with like the book of Cad Bane, and we'll get like a backstory on it.
he's in the Bacta tank.
Yeah.
Hey, I would love that.
I would actually watch that. That would be cooler than Book of Boba.
Jake says that was weak sauce to have Cad die so quick. It was pointless to bring him in. Would have loved to see him longer in Star Wars live action. He always escapes and pops up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was in Bad Batch, and
Yeah.
that's my only backstory
Yeah, he
Star
was in
Wars
Bad Batch.
watch. So
What, he was in there for like 1.5 episodes, dipped, never saw him again. Never saw him again. Oh,
I
like,
think we'll
that's
probably
cool.
see him again in Bad Batch season 2.
Oh yeah, they're doing that, huh? I forgot.
Yeah.
But Wave says, I'm glad there wasn't too much Cad because he was scary looking. So there's a hot take.
I just want to know, Ethan, tell us how you
Supposed
really
to be
feel about
scary
it.
looking.
How I really dude.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely pissed off. Like, it's annoying because Cad Bane, Wave has a point. He was scary looking. Cad Bane used to give me nightmares. And then he died, okay? Those nightmares, pointless. They were pointless. Absolutely pointless. At least if I had to live through that, then I can respect him now. But no, this dude right there, he's dead. He's dead. Absolutely, undeniably dead. Okay?
He's dead to me.
Unless he's got some Beskar underneath there, I think it's over. Yeah, you know what? I want him to pull something crazy. I want them to give him some plot armor for once in a life. It's about time he got it.
Maybe they should have had like in the end credits like the back to tank, and then there's Cad Bane and sitting inside of it. It would have been better than Vance.
Yeah, that's who's in the back of
mean-
the tank. It's not
Oh, yeah.
Chrysanthemum. Dude,
Did he have a good run though? He kind of had a
No.
good.
No, he didn't.
Not in live action, but he
Oh.
definitely had a good run in Clone Wars. But again, it's still a missed
But now
opportunity
it's
because
ruined. But now
because
it's ruined.
yeah, because if you're gonna bring him in live action,
do it justice.
exactly.
Like
If it's an asset to have him in the show, because like, you know, fan favorite, everyone loves him, such a long backstory, then use it to your advantage. You have him, you put all the effort into making him in live action, so use it to the full. If you're gonna kill him off, okay, whatever, but use him up. Don't use him for, like you said, like 10 minutes of the entire show. Like, use him in a lot of episodes. Do something with him, not just kill him off that easily.
bruh, he probably had just as much screen time in Clone Wars than Boba had ever had in his life. Like, in all honesty, that if not, he had more, dude. Do you know? Like, you remember how big Cad Bane was in Clone Wars? Like, he was the bounty hunter. But no,
Yeah.
the thing is like they did everything so perfect with him. That's the annoying part. It's the one time they absolutely nail it, like beyond belief. They nail it, like bring one of these characters in with like their CGI and everything. They nail it. Did you even see his hands, dude? Like his hands were like like in the show, like they had like little like suction cup things. They're perfect. Like that was insane. He was all set up, and then it's
Octopus hands?
gone. Yeah, it's gone, dude. It's all gone. I can.
I mean, I could talk about Cad Bane for a lot longer too, but we might have to keep going. We probably want to address this real quick. This is for you, Anthony. Anthony isn't saying much. Is he pro Pike?
No, I mean, in Clone Wars, I really liked the Pikes and like the episodes.
cool.
Yeah, the episodes of Ahsoka being captured by the Pikes. I thought that was cool, and it was really nice to see them again. Have like another call back to Clone Wars because we didn't see them anywhere else in live action, which I really liked. And yeah, I feel like they could have been, because they were known for being like big and bad. I
Yeah.
feel like they weren't as what they were in Clone Wars.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, they could have done them more justice too, for sure.
Dude, I was so confused watching this show, like when they kept talking about the Pikes, and I was like, "What Pikes?" And they kept saying like the Pikes and everything. I was like, "I don't see any Pikes," because if you remember the Clone Wars Pikes, they look so different. They look like lizards almost, and I was like, "What are these?" I was like so confused looking at them. I was like, "That's a Pike," and I don't remember. I don't think they even showed them.
I thought they looked pretty similar.
No, dude, I can pull up a picture of a Pike. Right? I think the thing with Clone Wars is like it was very like
You might be thinking of the
it
Black
was
Sun.
exaggerated. Well, yeah. Wait, what do you mean?
You might be thinking of the Black Sun, but
Those were Pikes.
no,
What?
the black. Okay, real quick, the Pikes, the Black Sun, and Crimson Dawn
Yeah,
were all in cahoots with each other, but the Pikes are their own people.
yeah, I know.
So
The
these
Pikes.
are the Pikes, but Black Sun had
That's a Pike.
yeah.
Right? Yeah, the mask is the same, but what is that face, dude? Like that doesn't look anything like it to me.
Yeah,
It's
close
what I'm
enough.
saying is it was like no, it's close enough, but it's just like in the show is like very exaggerated, like some things in the show. So I was like, okay, yeah, it took me a minute. I thought the Pikes were okay, but it's like who cares about the Pikes, dude? It's like it's the Pikes, bro. It's the Pikes. Like they can do cool stuff with the Pikes, but when I think of Pikes, like they're more like foot soldiers to like cooler people, you know.
Well, let's talk about that.
Which is why I think they set them up to some extent. Is like I always think of them as like foot soldiers to like Maul or like someone like bigger
Yeah.
and badder. So
Let's talk about that because a lot of people were speculating that not only were we going to see big reveals on the hero side with Han and Chewie. I never thought Han and Chewie were going to be in it.
Sean.
I didn't either.
I never thought that they would. It made more sense for Luke in Mandalorian season 2 because of the timeline and everything. It still makes more sense right now, but um, also I was speculating. Other people were speculating, like seeing Kira and Crimson Dawn. I thought that would have been really cool. I wish that had happened. And then other people were saying that Barriss Offee from Clone Wars was going to make it in. I thought that would have been really great because there's speculation that Barriss is going to also play a part in the Ahsoka series, because we never saw if she died. But I felt like something like that could have really joined everybody together, kind of like joined Boba's story, Luke, and Ahsoka, and like joined all three of their stories really well together. To see like Kira and Barriss coming in with like Crimson Dawn, something like that would have been really cool. But were you guys kind of disappointed not seeing some other character reveals?
I was disappointed that I wasn't really thinking they'd add those characters, because I think those are like for bigger down the line. Like I think Barriss is gonna be reserved for something, like Ahsoka, if she's gonna show up. Like you need a lightsaber, like a Force user, a lightsaber user, like that. There's the possibility until the fact that Luke wasn't on Tatooine. Then it was kind of gone. Like she wasn't gonna show up and fight. That was for sure. I just thought there'd be more bounty hunters. Like that was my main thing, is I was waiting for more bounty hunters. Like every time
Like Bosk. People
yeah,
were saying
exactly.
Bosk.
I was waiting for Bosk. I'm glad they didn't bring Bosk in, because he probably would have just died like Cad Bane. So that's good. On the bright side of things. But yeah, no, every time Boba was like, I have an idea, or like every time he was like going off to something, like I was kind of like, maybe he'll just get more bounty hunters. Or like when Cad Bane would dip, I was like, maybe he's just gonna come back with more bounty hunters. Because like, since when does no one rarely ever, they never hire like one bounty hunter. Like that's like pretty rare, like they very rarely hire one bounty hunter unless it's like something under the radar. Like I think there's only like a couple times where Cad Bane got hired and it was just him. Like usually there's like 3 or 4, like a group of bounty hunters, like for stuff like this. But I think just like bigger reveals like that, I think they're trying to play their cards safe. Like I think they're trying to play it safe and like leave enough content for the future. Because like I don't think they can really give much reason for like Luke to get into a fight yet, for like people that are like that high caliber, or like dark side users. And they haven't really brought Ahsoka in that much. Like it wouldn't really make sense for Ahsoka to come in right now and start fighting. Like it doesn't really seem like her character at the moment. I only see Ahsoka fighting if it's for her like trying to figure something out, like in her own like deal. Like she's not going to come out of nowhere to fight someone else's battle right now. Like that's not really how it feels. But I wasn't disappointed, because dude, everything on this, every time I open Disney Plus, I throw all expectations out of the window. Like I walk in with like blank slate, just because I'm like, I never need another WandaVision or Rob Boner or anything. Like I don't need that in my life. Like I don't need it. So I've gotten good with that. But there's definitely stuff.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like even though I feel like we're being pretty honest with like our takes and everything, it's like I don't feel like the fans, because generally I think that there's a lot of fans that are both big fans of Star Wars and big fans of Marvel. Like they enjoy both, but they're way more critical of Star Wars, I feel like. And then they'll go and like watch WandaVision and Loki and be like, yeah, that was just amazing. And it's like, it's like you tear apart Star Wars so much, but then all you kind of see is the good in Marvel, which has always been weird to me. But yeah,
I think it's because Star Wars has a bigger hole to dig itself out of right now. Like, in my opinion, I feel like people got so used to being critical, like after the sequels and stuff, because there were things to be very critical about with those movies. Like even the prequels too. Like there's stuff to be very critical.
Well, people pretty much hated George Lucas for a long time too. Even this is before the sequels, so it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it hasn't just been the sequels. It's definitely been a lot of both.
Yeah,
I
think
love
that's
Star
fair.
Wars, but I think that because the originals were so good, everything else after that, while still very good, it's not the same as the originals, and so people recognize that, and so they say, well, why didn't you do it better? And it's like if you're trying to live up to the expectations of like amazing movies, it's not going to be as good because it's not the first and it's not the original. It's still really good, but yeah, I think that people are too nitpicky about Star Wars stuff just because they're trying to compare it to perfection, or whatever you want to call it. Like really good movies.
Yeah, I want to tell you my thing with it. It's something I thought about the other day. Like, Star Wars is an original creation, right? Like a straight up original creation that was brought straight into like movies. Like that's how it was made. Like it was brought straight into the theaters. Marvel has a plethora of comics that it is based on, like unlimited comics and resources that this stuff is based on. And if something seems a little weird or whatever, they're just like, oh, well, it was in the comic. Like it was in the comic. Like they're going off the base sources for it. And so I understand there's more difficulty with creating Star Wars content than Marvel content, because this is stuff that is Marvel is being something that's made into a movie that has a lot to go off of, and you can't really fail with that because it's like a book, right? It's like, think of all the movies that were made out of books. It's like the same concept but mixed and pieced together like a puzzle. But with Star Wars, this is the reason why Mandalorian and somewhat Book of Boba Fett were as successful as they are, is because you have to think of it as it's the thinking process. It's not like what you're doing. It's all about your thinking process and creating these stories, which is why they tried to have the same thinking process that they did when they were making the originals, because that's what it's all based off of, is the imagination and all that went into it, and the storytelling that was just original. Like it was original, and you can't really beat that. Like you can't beat an idea that someone had years ago and expect the exact same thing. Like it will never work the same, because it's never going to be the same content. Like it's never going to be the same content. You can't find another George Lucas that was whatever age he was when he made that and whatever mindset he was in when he wrote it. Like you're never going to find that again. And it's always going to be difficult for Star Wars, but it's why they just can't screw up. like they have to play it safe, like going forward. And I think that's why they're starting to rely heavily on this Mandalorian stuff, and stuff that's not going to ruin the story, but is only going to try and add to it from what is there. Like I think that's what they realized. Like the best thing they can do with Star Wars is give more context and more story to things that are already set up, because it's something that's already very good at its core, and all they can do is try to add as much as they can to make it even better. And like you have more background to everything going on. So
yeah, I still definitely have a lot of faith in Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, especially because Dave was like mentored by George for a long time, working on the Clone Wars and during Rebels too, I believe. And then John is just a huge Star Wars fan as well, and I think that he's a really good writer. I do think that because Jon Favreau did write these stories for Book of Boba Fett with David Rodriguez, but David Rodriguez was mainly the director. But I didn't quite like the writing for Book of Boba Fett, not nearly as much as Mandalorian. But I think as we kind of like wrap up, maybe in the next 15 to 20 minutes or so, wrap things up, I'd like to talk I guess more about the show as a whole, and if there's any other little things about this finale, we can throw those out first. But and maybe just like things that we really enjoyed, like our favorite parts about the series, and possibly even rate the series too. But Ryan, you want to start us out?
Yeah, I think the ending of the episode, it didn't really leave on much of a cliffhanger. Everyone was happy, and the town was. Everyone was happy to see Boba walking down the street, and the family's all there.
It's not the ending I wanted for him.
No, it's basically like, well, it's probably going to be the series finale for Book of Boba. It just concludes on too good of a little pretty package to be done with the show. And if that's all they want to do with Boba, that's fine. But I have a feeling we're going to see him come back in Mandalorian Season 3 to make some sort of appearance for something. But yeah, the ending of the episode was a little underwhelming. The music, the credit music in the end, though, they changed that up.
Did you notice that too, Anthony?
Yeah, I did.
Where they're saying Boba Fett's name? I didn't like that.
Yeah, it was weird at first. I was like, did they say this the entire time and I just didn't notice? Or, yeah.
I thought the exact same thing. I had to go back to the last episode and like listen. I'm like, wait, have I not been hearing this correctly the whole time? Like, oh no, they didn't have the same as before. So,
well, it's like we don't need lyrics in our Star Wars music because it's supposed to be. George Lucas always called it a space opera, so we just need the soundtrack and just the music. But yeah, Anthony, any final thoughts on the episode? Also, one thing I got to throw out there, one more thing, and then I'll toss it over to you, Anthony. Ryan kind of touched on it, but because I really wanted Boba to get back to the point of kind of like along the lines of what Fennec was trying to have him do or like push for, and get back to being a little bit more tough and grittier at the end. And I wanted him to have a moment like the two huts where the people were carrying him out, and there was that respect, but there was also that fear. And we definitely didn't get that at all. In fact, what was really dumb is that he tells Fennec that maybe we're not cut out for this. It's like, what is this about then? It's just and then that you think about that, him saying that, and then you think about so many other moments in the series. And don't get me wrong, because I know we've been picking it apart for sure, but I did really enjoy the series. It's just there's some weird stuff for sure when you think about him saying that maybe we're not cut out for this, and then you think back to him taking out Cad Bane. It really makes you mad.
You better be cut out for it.
It's really dumb. But anyways, Anthony, tell us your thoughts on the ending.
Yeah. The ending was, for what they gave us, it was good, but I wanted more of like a cliffhanger, more of me wanting something back instead of like a happy ending for everyone. Everyone got a happy ending. I wanted like just like one thing that just like stayed with us in the back of our minds, like, oh, Bane is still out there, or maybe with the Pikes turning to Crimson Dawn for help, saying, oh, we need your help, and they're talking to Kira, maybe something like that to want to pull us back in again. But with this, it just kind of just made everything level and just left us. Yeah.
The one thing that I found is the toughest person here is Fennec. Like, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, all of a sudden, like each of the crime lord families, like leaders, one at a time is like, oh, they're getting taken out, and it's like, oh, okay. It's like, why didn't we do this 6 episodes ago? Like, what? She could have done this a long time ago. Why did she wait till now? Like, we should have had it, Book of Fennec instead. Like, That's was if we want like a Boba Fett show, like that is Boba Fett. That's what I was more expecting Boba Fett to be like. So it's nice to see that Boba Fett showed up in the end.
Yeah, it's like the consistency is a little bit weird. It's kind of like it's just the pacing and just everything is a little bit offbeat from time to time. The name Book of Boba Fett doesn't always like feel appropriate. It I think it should be more like Mandalorian's Friends show.
3 chapters of Boba.
The Friends of the Mandalorian.
Mando and Friends.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. But yeah, let's talk about I guess our favorite moments. Actually, first let's rate the series as a whole, and then we'll talk about a couple of our favorite moments, and then we'll head out. Ethan.
I'm really gonna struggle here after the whole Bane dying thing. I don't know. The Force jump hug was pretty cute. Honestly, Grogu sleeping next to a Rancor might, recover this show for me. But I think, in all honesty, though, their fight scene was really good. Like, I think they choreographed that pretty well and actually did some good with having them get beat up for a bit. So, and then let me rate the I'll rate the season. He doesn't like the season.
The season or the episode? The season or the episode?
I'll rank both right now.
That's Obi-Wan, by the way. I don't know if he's been on the.
Obi-Wan. He's getting a new show. So I would probably say the episode like a 4, like 3.5 out of 5. Like the Bane thing really upset me. The series though, I think accomplished again like a 3.5 out of 5. Like I know a lot of people liked the whole back to simulator aspect of the story, but I was just like, I think after you show like all the Tusken Raiders and stuff and like how he's been acting, like I think it's pretty self-explanatory like what happened to him. I think they wasted a bit of time with all that compared to like other stuff they could have been doing to like set up everything that was actually going on in Tatooine at the time. But I think the Mando episodes like really recovered it for me, honestly, like because that really did it. So yeah, like 3.5 like across the board, dude. It was good, but it was just like it was like a DLC, like a DLC. Like I didn't need it, but I got it, like that's just what it is. It's like a DLC. So with it's like a DLC with a cool weapon or like a cool, like a DLC that you bought just so that you can get like one car or something, like just so you can get one thing out of it. That's what this series was to me. Like you got a couple cool things.
I got to touch on it too, because I do think that it's so far from what we get like in these last few episodes. It's so far off from what we get for all that time spent with the Tusken Raiders that they don't really flow together super well, in my opinion. I mean, I am glad that they did talk about the Tuskens a little bit in this episode. But I think like me and Ryan were saying last week, they probably should have brought in that one Tusken Raider, I believe it was a woman, but like the main Tusken Raider that was like training with him, because we didn't actually see if she died or not, and that would have been cool to have her come back. Something like that to kind of like bring it full circle. Also, another thing that I was hoping that they would do is, because they showed that scene a couple times with young Boba Fett looking out on Kamino, watching Jango Fett fly away, his dad, and it always felt like there was more to that scene when you watch it. And so I thought that maybe like in this last episode they would show it again, but then show us more to it and kind of wrap it up better. I wish that they did stuff like that for this last episode. but I do kind of have to like really try and like, it's weird, like balance out like my viewpoint and like kind of like, I don't know, just like differentiate like between the episodes and then um like make like separate how I enjoyed the Book of Boba Fett, like his story, and then how I enjoyed the Star Wars content that we got, because I really enjoyed the Star Wars content that we got. Um, I I've been a fan of Boba Fett for a while, and it was really hard to see him kind of go off in a different direction. I knew he was going to go off in a different direction, but it was even more out of like left field than what I thought. I still thought that we were gonna, have him be like more of a bad guy. Um, I thought we were gonna have him be a bad guy, not a bounty hunter anymore. Um, but have him be a crime lord, and instead that's kind of what he's saying that he is throughout the entire series. But he comes across as wanting to be a hero, or like just like a noble person, and for me that didn't really work too well. Um, so for this finale, I would probably give it a 7 out of 10, and then for the series as a whole, I'd probably give like a 7.5 out of 10, because I absolutely love the episode Return of Mandalorian. It's not a great Boba Fett episode, but it is a very great. It's like one of the best Mandalorian episodes in my opinion, from the very beginning. Just like I love that intro scene where he goes and takes out that one guy. He ignites the dark saber. For the first time since season 2, and he's finally using it. And then to see him go up against Vizsla, can't remember his first name, and then Paz Vizsla, and then all the stuff, the conversations with the armorer, because she's a really awesome character too. But just like loved all of that, and of course really enjoyed seeing Luke and Grogu come back too. So then as a whole for the series, I already said it, probably 7.5 out of 10. But those are probably like my final thoughts, I think. Anthony?
I would think series as a whole, I would give it a 6 out of 10. It was good. It was good Star Wars content that we got, but it did set things up. But then it also didn't give us like a satisfying ending for them, like Cad Bane, him just dying. I think that they could have done a lot more with him, and then with the Pikes ending with them. Just they could have done a lot more stuff with them and like drawn it out. So yeah, but it was good overall.
Yeah, I think it would have benefited from being a longer series, possibly. But Ryan?
So for the episode itself, if it wasn't an entire series finale, if it was just an individual episode, I would say it's like an 8 out of 10. I thought the episode was great. We got a lot of Star Wars, especially the last 3 episodes, but a lot of Star Wars in this one. A lot of action, a lot happened, so I like the episode a lot. But because it is a season and series finale, it has to drop it down to like a 7 or so. Maybe a 6.5. Like, great episode, but I just was left wanting a lot more. And 0 cliffhangers. There's no storyline following this. Well, okay, Mando and Grogu are together. That's basically all we got. So for the show in general, so that's that for the episode. For the show, I think you said it was right. The pacing of it is weird. The first 3 episodes were pretty slow. 3 or 4 episodes were slow pacing, just getting like backstory of what's happening. Then we had 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, and then this episode, which is good. but it just didn't conclude things. So I think if they changed the pacing of things, I think the story would have been better. But I think because of that, you're not. It's inconsistent, and so it's tough to stay enthusiastic about the show when it's slow, and then when they make a left turn to the Mandalorian show, you're left wondering what's going on with Boba. And so, if the show is about Boba Fett and it's called The Book of Boba Fett, I don't really. For half the show, it wasn't really a Boba Fett show. I think that it was basically a DLC, entertaining DLC, but just a DLC. So I think for the entire show, for a rating, I think I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I just feel like they could have done something better with the show and had a lot more opportunities that they kind of missed and didn't take advantage of, and that they left a lot on the table and didn't really give us enough of Boba.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. But yeah, guys, if there isn't a whole lot more, we can probably close things out. You guys have anything else that you want to add for the review?
No, I just think kind of like along the lines of what Ryan was saying. I love the show for the wrong reasons. Like, I loved it for the wrong reasons. Like, it had really good moments in it, but it was not. I didn't like the part, like the actual legit Book of Boba Fett. I didn't like that part of it. Like, that's the issue.
Because Mando and Luke and Grogu steal the show.
Yeah, they did, and it shouldn't have to be like that. So
that's why I kept watching, was to see, what happened with Grogu? What did he choose? Mando, how is he going to team up with Boba?
yeah.
It kind of just turned focus from Boba into everyone else.
And no matter how much we hate cliffhangers when we get them, it's what moves a show along. Like, Dom doesn't have another episode where he could be like, what? Like, there's no questions that were left, you know? Like, it's there. That's why we weren't sitting here for another, like, 30, 40 minutes wondering, like, asking these questions about what's going to happen next, because it's very, like, it's there. Like, you know what's going to happen next.
I
Like,
mean,
Mando,
there's the post-credit
Mando,
scene, but it's like it's so weak.
So they brought back someone. Okay, he didn't die. Okay, big deal. He's alive. Okay, well he's not a villain. He's not a threat to anyone. He's just gonna go back to Freetown and be the marshal. Okay,
It's possible. I guess if we're gonna speculate for a second, I think it's possible that they could be setting it up that Cobb Vanth is gonna take over now, kind of like all of it. I think that could potentially be part of why they have Boba Fett say that they're not cut out for this.
But then what's the point of one more thing?
Yeah,
then what's the point of this entire show? What's the point of Cad Bane dying? There's none. That's the issue. Is that if they do anything besides what just happened, then there's no point in any of it ever happening. Besides the thing is, if they change anything about this from where they left it off, like completely now, if they do anything major like that, the only thing to pull from this show was the Bacta tank scenes. That's it. That would be it. Like, that would be pretty much it. That would be the only longevity to come out of this entire show, besides Grogu picking a shirt. Like,
I do really like Cobb Vanth.
That's reality.
I do really like Cobb Vanth and his character. I hope that they don't ruin his character with whatever mods he's going to
They will.
I really don't want them to. Because I honestly don't think that he needs any mods. It's probably going to be an arm thing, though, I'm assuming. Because I think he got shot in the shoulder, but... It's like, that post-credit scene, it didn't do a whole lot. It didn't have that same effect as when at the post-credit scene for season 2 of Mandalorian, where you see Boba and Fennec go into the palace and Boba takes out Bib Fortuna, which we never talked about this and we won't spend time on it, but it's also still weird that we never got to understand why Boba Fett takes out Bib Fortuna in the first place. We don't really know why. especially if he doesn't think he's cut out for it.
He's certainly not cut out for it anymore.
You guys think there's going to be a season 2 of Book of Boba?
I don't think that they were planning on it, but for some reason, I think that there might be.
I think it's like a coin flip. I don't know.
I hope not. I hope not.
I wouldn't care for it. Why do I want another DLC when I could just get more like straight up Mando? Like we got enough Boba in Mando. Like wouldn't it have made more sense with Mando having as many episodes as it did to just give Boba an episode or two to like work some stuff out, or like give him a bit of screen time? I would have rather gotten.
Had this,
yeah, I don't know.
They could have had this entire show in 2 episodes of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, they could have just done The Mandalorian and then thrown Boba a little bit of back to action every once in a while and gotten to the exact same point where they are now. The exact same. Like who
do you
cares
think it was like a cash grab?
Mos Espa? Like I don't care about Mos Espa. What happened to Mos Eisley? You know, like I don't care about that. They go to Tatooine and they don't even go to the coolest place in Tatooine. Mos Eisley. That was another thing. I can't. No, I'll go too far in, but it's just like I feel like everything about this show is just out of the boundary to like make any huge effects on anything, right? Like Boba ain't gonna be a
like
villain.
for Boba Fett's story, like for his progression.
No, like I didn't have to. I don't feel like I had to watch this show. You know, like
I mean, I feel like we benefit from it.
No, you definitely benefit from it
for Mandalorian reasons.
Yeah, you benefit from it.
Well, last 3 episodes.
You don't have to. Like, you don't have to. Okay? Think about it like this. You walk into Mando Season 2, right? Grogu shows back up with a new shirt, okay? Never saw the lightsaber, never even worked. His force powers just got stronger all of a sudden. Like, you know, that wouldn't matter. Boba, the same. Like, nothing changed. He got some people now. Like, he has a crew. You know, like, dude, I wouldn't even know Cad Bane's in the universe because he's dead. Like, I could go into Mando Season 2 and never know Cad Bane, like, existed because he died in 30 minutes. You know, like, that's the thing is this show was a mega DLC. Like, there's stuff out of it that is definitely valuable towards Boba as a character because they definitely had to do some stuff with Boba. Like, everyone cares about him. Like, he has a cool presence that they need to expand on. But it wasn't, like, necessary to be like, okay, we want to give him a show. And I don't even think he needed it. Like, it was cool. I'm happy that we got content, but it wasn't necessary. You know, like, it wasn't necessary at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, I actually probably would have preferred for this to be like another show, like at least the content that we got from like Mandalorian, Luke, and Grogu, for it to just be in the Mandalorian show. And because that's like Ethan said, I really enjoyed the series, but probably for the wrong reasons. I enjoyed it for the Mandalorian, Luke, and Grogu reasons, and we could have just gotten that somewhere else. But yeah, I almost want to say not my Boba, to be honest with you.
Where's my Bane?
Yeah, not my Bane either. But I don't know, guys. I think that we've pretty much talked about everything, covered everything, really. I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm still.
Yeah.
It gave me something to do.
I'm gonna watch the finale again tonight, so
Have fun.
We'll see.
I'm not.
I think it'll be good. I really did. I really did enjoy the finale, and I really enjoyed the team up with Boba and Mando. But yeah, it's been a good review, guys. It's been fun.
Yep.
Thanks everyone for being on, and thanks everyone for tuning in. Also, if you're watching on the replay, again, leave your comments, your thoughts. We want to hear about them. Any Easter eggs or theories that you might have going forward, definitely want to hear about them. Things coming up on the channel. I'm not sure what we'll have in store for next Wednesday. Possibly just entertainment news. There was some really cool things that came out for the Nintendo Direct today. Oh, I'll just throw those out there really. I'll throw those out there really quick.
Oh,
I'll throw those
no.
out there really quick, really fast because I know we all got to go. Super Mario Strikers. I called it months ago.
Dude,
I am
I'm
so
not playing
excited.
that game with you. I'm not playing that
I'm
game with
so
you.
excited.
I'm
You'll play
not
it.
touching it.
He'll play it. We'll stream it. We're gonna stream it, guys. The Switch Sports, which essentially was like Wii Sports. It looks pretty good actually.
Oh, I'm down
That's
with that.
cool.
I'm down with that.
That's
with
cool. Not as cool as Super Mario Strikers. I honestly yelled. I wish I had done a reaction video. I yelled.
I honestly almost threw my phone out of the flashbacks
it looks
that
so
I had.
sick. It looks so sick. I'll probably
was
do a
the
little video on
trauma.
that. Oh, Force Unleashed. I recently purchased that for a couple of dollars for my Wii, which I really didn't need to because now it's coming to the Switch. Excited about that. I need to get into the Xenoblade Chronicles because they look so good and I've heard amazing things about them. The third one got a trailer today and it looks awesome. So we'll see. But yeah, cool things happening there. Like I said, for next Wednesday, we'll probably talk about some different entertainment. Maybe we'll talk about Obi-Wan. Oh, I'll throw that out there real quick. Obi-Wan official date, May 25th. Let's go. It's going to be amazing. Super excited. We'll definitely be doing reviews for that. And then this Friday, we're going to be doing our first Lego episode. Myself and my friend Brent, we're going to be doing a Lego building episode. Both Boba Fett's ship, the Slave One, and then that'll be my set that I'll be building, and then Brent is building a TIE fighter, and then we'll be talking Star Wars, we'll be talking Legos, and we'll be talking Lego Star Wars because that trailer came out recently and looks amazing. Can't wait for that game as well. So that'll be a fun episode. You can catch that Friday afternoon. But I think that's pretty much all I got, guys. Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Anything else you guys want to add?
Rip
I'm
Cad
not
Bane.
playing Strikers. Rip Cad Bane.
We're playing it. We're streaming it. All right. We will catch you next time, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you later.